Alright, so we are recording on OBS right now, guys. Let me minimize that. And let me just show you what I shot on my camera today, okay? So, in my Finder, that you guys will find at the bottom right here, in my Finder on Lumix, which would be my SD card that I use for my camera, DCIM, 102 Pana, these are the two shots that I got, okay? This one right here is actually going to be a little bit longer. It's 3.5 minutes, but I didn't really get it right until right about the last part. So here's what I'm going to do. I counted down right there. 3, 2, 1. This is the part where I'm like, you know what? This is I want to start my video off here. And so I already have my hand extended out, and I have what I'm going to create as my lightsaber right here, okay? That's the length that I wanted at, and the reason why I already have my hand extended out is because I have a white background behind my hand, okay? I have a white background behind my saber, and that's what I want to use to help mask this, because what I want to do is essentially cut this off so that it looks like it's just a little nub. So I'm not changing this big long pole into a lightsaber. I want the lightsaber to come out and to go right here. But in order to do that, I have to mask a different clip behind me. So if I could name this right here, I could name it in Premiere Pro. Let me just name it in Premiere Pro. And then the second shot I have right here is just really a 20-second long shot of the same exact camera angle that I had. And this is what I'm going to use to help mask my clip, okay? Same lighting settings, same wide shot. This is what I'm going to be doing to help make most of that boom pole disappear on the bottom left here, okay? So I just recorded two things. If you guys have your own toy lightsaber that you can use this with, if it extends from a shortened length out to whatever the length is, then that's great. You won't have to do this, but if you guys have a broom pole or a broomstick, excuse me, the boom pole that you guys have for from your creative packs, you can extend that out to a certain length. Make sure that you screw it and tighten it a little bit so that it doesn't go flying like I actually did on one of my takes. And this one's gonna be a little bit longer than what I said for the project, but make sure it's between 5 seconds and 15 seconds, okay? I want you guys to know and to understand how to do these effects. I don't want a full-fledged short film. I don't want something that you, like, I mean, if you go above and beyond, that's nice to see, guys, but the most important thing that does not waste your time and that doesn't waste basically the time that you'll be contributing towards other projects, just get the project, get the effect down. That's why we do these things. If you want to add a story to it, that's something that you guys can do later on, but the goal of this is that you guys understand how to use After Effects, okay? So, I have my clips right here. I'm going to open up After Effects right now. Alright, so another thing that I really want to show you guys as well is to change some of the settings on your After Effects. If you guys notice right here, everything looks a little bit brighter. Hopefully this makes it easier for you guys to follow along and to read what I'm doing. So I'll actually show you how to change those things right now. So if you want to make it easier to work in After Effects and in Premiere Pro, one of the best ways that you guys can make everything a little bit brighter and less dark is if you go up here to the top left and you see where it says After Effects. If you click on that and you go to Preferences, from Preferences you guys are going to go down to Appearance, okay? At Appearance, you guys will see different settings and you're going to be able to see what those changes are going to do for you guys, okay? So, it says, like for example, we have the brightness one. If I turn my brightness all the way down, then that's going to basically make it a little bit harder to see the distinguished lines in between my panels. But if I turn it a little bit higher up, then you guys are able to see things a lot better. Granted, it's going to make your screen a little bit brighter and the blue light might hurt you depending on how sensitive you guys are. But I'll keep it at the max brightness so you guys can follow along better and you can see the contrast between the text, what I'm going to show you right now, okay? So it says interactive colors. It says the sample right here. So basically, If I turn this darker, what you're going to be reading as examples in After Effects, so like the light blue text that we see right here where it says like none, for example, if we see that on After Effects, making it lighter is going to help it pop out a little bit more. Same with focus indicators. If I take my focus indicator and I turn it a little bit darker, which is the button around the highlight color, then I will basically see the word highlighted, but the box around it isn't as highlighted. So I just turned those settings up. That's something that I did. If you go to general, you can see what we have here. But appearance is something that really helps out a lot. Just the overall layout of everything looks a little bit better to me. If you turn it really dark, maybe the text will actually contrast and pop out a little bit. But I want to show you guys all the different functions and buttons, which I think are a little bit more revealing with the brightness turned all the way up, okay? So now once you've done that, go ahead and click OK. This pop-up will come up as well. So new project. If I wanted to create a new project, after clicking that, we can save this new project. So in order to do that, let's save this so that our composition is inside this project as well. So go to File on the top left, go down to Save As, click on Save As, and let's name it Lightsaber. So lightsaber.aep, which stands for After Effects Project. We can save that in downloads, or we can save it to my drive, which is where I would like to put it. So in my drive, I'll put it to class tutorials. Let's just save it there. There we go. Now, I'll create a brand new composition. And the composition settings that I want you guys to keep track of when you're doing this is going to be 1920 pixels width and 1080 pixels height, okay? And we want to keep it at, probably the preset would be HDTV 1080 29.97. So 29.97 is the frames per second. We'll keep that here because we're shooting in 1080p at 30 FPS. So that's almost 30 FPS right there. And the duration down here, guys, if you want to make the length of your effect, what you guys are trying to pull off, give yourself 15 seconds maximum, okay? It can either be 15 seconds maximum if you guys go a little bit over, then, like for example, I went a little bit over because I had fun. I'm gonna go ahead and just put, I'll start off on a minute. So I don't know how long I was swinging around, but I put it at a minute, and background color is black. Resolution, when you guys select your resolution, the lower you go from full, the faster your After Effects is going to work. But as you scrub and scroll through your footage, it may look a little bit grainy and not as full, but I'll leave it at third resolution because I think that's pretty good. FPS 29.97 looks good. Square pixels, everything looks really, really good so far. Composition name, okay? Let's name this Lightsaber. Alright, we've named it Lightsaber, we've created our composition, and now we just want to add our media elements, okay? So first things first, the bottom layer, the one that we're going to implement first, is me waving around the lightsaber. So that's going to be the clip that I liked. We can definitely take a portion of our clip and only focus on rendering it here. But if we wanted to make a sub clip, we would have to, let's see if we can bring it in here. Lumix, DCIM, nope. Yes, delete that. There we go. Okay, it is MP4. I was concerned for a second. Here we go. So if I just wanted to take a portion of my footage and drag it down onto my composition and my timeline, I know that it looked good right about here, right about there when I want to do this. So if I'm making my sub clip, I double clicked on this clip, which is going to be the bottom layer, and from there I'm going to click I on my keyboard to mark in. And so I'm going to set an in point right here on my footage window in the composition window. It's my footage that I'm looking at. So this button right here, I guess it's going to be a little bit different since it's After Effects. So this button that we see on the bottom of our composition window, this same icon is in, which is marking in. So this is the starting point of the clip that I want to actually import and bring onto my project. And then if I keep scrolling through and I look about when I end it, which is right about there, right about there. That's not bad. Then I want to set my out point, okay? So if I go down here again, just to the right of this one over here, to the right of this time code, I'm going to set my out point. So now that it's basically trimmed this down and said, okay, you only want this section, but you'll see this button down here, this was mark in and this was marked out. So this is what I want at the beginning of my subclip and this is what I want at the ending. In order to take what I just trimmed right there and to bring it down to my project, I clicked on this button to the right hand side of all those other buttons. So instead of doing this one, I clicked the far right one, and then what that did was take what I just trimmed and dropped it down to my project window, okay? And ironically, the length of this clip, the video clip that we have right here, is only like 40 something seconds. And I set our composition settings for a minute long, and we need to basically just have the timeline or the composition set to how long our video is. And one way that you can do that is by taking this little blue bar that you see here on the far right hand side and dragging it all the way over on your timeline to the end of your video clip right here. We can bring it right there, and if we want to also bring the other timeline marker right here that's at the top, we brought the bottom one down here to the end of our clip. Let's bring this guy there as well. Now, but if we want to double check and make sure that our composition is actually going to export the 40 seconds instead of the minute long, the way that we can do that is by going into the composition over here and well, actually not on the left hand side but above here. If you click on this and you go to composition settings, that is where we will be able to see how long this composition is. So it's still duration, it's set to a minute long, so that means that even if we edit this clip that's about 40 seconds and a couple frames long, then we're going to get essentially 19 seconds more of just straight black, and that's what we don't want to export it as, okay? So how we're going to figure that out is basically by looking here and saying that, okay, this is not, I want this to be how long? I want it to be basically to the length of the end of my clip, which is right about there. And that one is 41 seconds and 1 frame long, okay? One thing that you can do is basically go back up to composition again, composition settings, and let's go down to duration which is the length of the whole thing. Let's make it 4101. Now, once we click OK from there, our entire composition is as long as the video clip itself. Okay, there's not going to be any black in the later where there's just no sound and no video. So we've trimmed that clip down. We trimmed this clip down. We brought it from the footage window right here and brought it into our composition on the timeline down here. And let's actually go ahead and rename it just so it's easier to keep track of things. So go to the left-hand side in our project window. Well, you can right-click it and then rename it. You should be able to click it on. I think you're able to click it once on Premiere Pro. But through here, guys, you can use you can right-click it and then click rename through there. And then let's go ahead and name this as the let's say it's the wielding clip, because to wield something is to basically hold it, to, like, you know, use it as something that you attack and defend with. Let's call that the wielding clip, so that we know that where it is organized on the layers of our windows here. So everything looks okay. So I still have some audio that's attached to this. Let's go ahead and just turn that audio off. We don't want any of that. And then through here, guys, I want to take this, and now I want to, let's cut our little boom pole out a little bit, okay? So here's what we're gonna do to do that. This right here is the blank clip. Let's actually name this. So if we go right here, if we take this and we say, all right, so this is the other clip that I had where it was just the same exact angle and the same exact camera, and I just hit record so that I had something to, like, basically mask this with. I wanted to take that and use that for maybe right about, let's say 0 seconds all the way until, let's say 4 seconds long. So let's make it 5 seconds just to be safe. So let's go back here to footage at the top, because I double clicked this. And that opened it up in the footage window, or the footage layer, if you will. So through here, we're going to basically do the exact same process, where we're only going to take the first 5 seconds of this. So let's go here again and put this as mark in. Once we have it marked in there, I'm going to go forward a little bit. Keep track of this duration timer right here. Let's do like 5 seconds long. Alright, 500. Now let's do mark out. And this right here is what I want to see on my timeline. So I click that button again. And now I've created that 5 second long layer of the same video. Now I can take this guy, move it over to the far right hand side. Let's line them up a little bit right there. But right about there, at this frame exactly, is where I want the lightsaber to be fully revealed and to be fully shown. So through here, we have to make a mask, all right? So let's go ahead and draw and make a mask. Come back out. There we go. All right. Pen tool. Alright, so to draw the mask that I want to use on this clip right here, on top of my wielding clip where I'm using the lightsaber, I basically clicked on the eyeball away from... I clicked on the eyeball away on the clip that's not the wielding clip, okay? Because this is the one that's on top, but to hide it, I mean, I bring it back right there, and there I disappear. Because we have to remember that's the layer on top of right here. So, to click on the eyeball, I'm going to disappear it. But I'm still going to change and make an alteration as it's highlighted right here to this particular layer. So I'm creating a mask for this layer. Now watch. I've selected the pen tool up top here, which is G on the keyboard. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit to 33, let's do 50. And now that I've created that pen tool and I'm going to start drawing a mask, this mask is not going to apply to the wielding clip. It's going to apply to the clip that I want to have as like to basically draw around this. So let's actually zoom in a little bit more. Let me press H for my hand tool. So I'll zoom in some more. We can see all these pixels we got right here. And this is a better representation of where I want to really create my mask now. So through here, let's go ahead and make it right about this length. Let's draw a point there, and then a point here. And now let's bring it all the way down to the bottom over here. And I want to adjust this point. And because I like the way that the lightsaber looks with like the just a little pointed blade, I'm gonna make it a pointed end right here. And I'm gonna drag that out, and then I'm gonna take this dot and I'm gonna connect them all the way down here. So now I've created that mask. And this one right here is on this exact frame. Alright? So, what this is going to do is now that I've created that mask, I've essentially cut out just the part of the layer on top that I want to see. Now, when I click that eyeball again right here, since I've created that mask, it automatically detects. It's like, hey, you only want to show this portion of the empty clip on top where I'm not standing anywhere, okay? It's like, yeah. So if I click on the eyeball again after I've created this mask, it's gonna clear this out and it's gonna disappear. Now, the tricky part though is zooming all the way in and going frame by frame. Because as we go further and further, it's going to slip out of that mask. In fact, if you guys want to get even more detailed, we could stretch this a little bit further. Hold on. Yeah, we could stretch this a little bit further and cover up the shadow that you guys see. Press H for the hand tool. I'm going to press G again for this pen. There we go. And now it's going to be covered up through there. Just H again. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Now we'll go frame by frame. Comes up right about here. So what I need to do is I need to change that mask So like as I bring this back here, as I bring my hand back frame by frame, you need to change this mask or cut it off so that you can still not see the pole behind it. So this is part of After Effects that, you know, obviously not a lot of people are in love with. At least to help me, I'm gonna try to make it move. I'm gonna go from here all the way to coming back to this point. So at this point, when I reach a resting point, before I come back, I want my mask to be, press G again. I want my mask to be right about let's say there. And then I want that to get right there. Because I still want to hide it. Notice how it's making it a lot easier, guys, because I shot a second clip and this is a white, like, general flat background. Try to have something similar to that if you guys are working with a boom pole. Now, to get to this point, let me actually change that up a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to keyframe the path. So I'm keyframing the path. So that's what I'm going to do. It's basically going to go up to that point because I want that mask to stay there so that we can keep hiding this boom pole. In order to do that, it's fine where it's at right now. But when it gets up to this point, like right before I start moving, right about there, right there is right where I'm about to move. So I want to take my mask that I applied. I'm going to go to the left hand side, click this little drop down arrow, and see my masks that I have for this clip. And then mask 1 is going to be what I'm going to alter. Before we do that though, let me rename this and right click it and click rename, and we're going to call this invisible boom pole. So what we're gonna do is, like Marcus said, we're gonna keyframe the path of it, okay? So through here, we're gonna basically start our first keyframe because this is the frame where I'm about to move my hand back. So through here, I want to click the stopwatch and say that, all right, this frame's gonna move. I'm gonna move this frame and change the shape of it. And then I want to fast forward ahead in time to where I reach my hand back. I'm just doing it for the effect. So this is a good resting point right about there, right before I'm about to shoot my lightsaber out of my hand. Right there. I can change the shape of this mask. I think I just had to click this once, and then once I'm inside of this, that's when I have the bit. So once you guys see these little borders right here, that's when you're able to adjust these points. So it kept going back to the composition and adjusting the actual layer or the mask itself inside the composition. But if you guys are running into issues like that, notice how it's kind of hard. It's kind of easy to spot. That's pretty easy to see. I don't want to invert the pixels. Probably bring it up a little bit. Oh, see that? Alright, let's bring it back to where we were. I want to delete this mask. Let's create this mask right here. Still see, I click the eyeball off this so that I only see the wielding clip where I want to draw my mask around here. But I'm highlighted on the invisible boom pole layer so that we're going to draw a mask around here, okay? If you want to see the different tools that are in the same field as the mask feather, you have to click and hold on your mouse to see what you have, okay? Click and hold. I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to go back to the pen tool, G. That's what I wanted. Alright, going back to where we were. Holy cow, it takes 30 minutes just to find one thing. Alright, through here at the start of the video, I want my mask to start about there, go down here, and go up here, go up here. I want it to come across there and make its way around here. So that's a pretty good looking hilt. I want to hide that shadow there. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back down here and click on the eyeball next to my invisible boom pole layer, and then boom, it's there. But we haven't created that mask just yet. But the reason why is because we haven't actually made the mask. I just made a pen tool. Question is, where is that mask going? Oh. Alright, I need to undo all this. I have no idea. I guess what that was is that's the pen tool, and since we didn't actually create a mask, guys, it's just creating like sort of like markers and pen marks that you can use as something else. My bad. I thought I already made a mask. This is confusing. So anyway, first of all, we can right click this and select new mask. And when you create a new mask, it'll add it as another drop down that you have right here. And I'll just go ahead and click this drop down as well. I already have the pen tool selected, guys, which is G on the keyboard. And remember, if we click and hold, we see the different tools that we have at our disposal. Same goes for here. Instead of a rectangle, we can do the ellipses, the polygon, the star, or anything like that. But I want to go to create a freehand mask right here. So for this mask on this layer, not the wielding clip layer, this layer, I'm going to create this mask. There we go. That would be mask number 2, because mask number 1 apparently hates me. So I just deleted mask number 1 because I think we just made mask number 2. Alright. So through here, let's bring, yep, there it is. Alright, cool. I clicked on the eyeball again to reveal and show what we're doing for our, for hiding our boom pole right here. And the mask looks good. So through here though, I want to see what it looks like to increase the feather around it. See, the thing is though, is that when we increase the feather, it makes it softer from the inside. I want to make it softer on the outside. There we go. Well, we're expanding and we're making it bigger, but I'm going to increase the feather so that it doesn't look as like. Well, that's like way too soft. Yeah, let's just undo those changes. We'll keep it as is for right now. Nope, I don't want to make another mask. There we go. So I'm going to press V on my keyboard or get the selection tool going right here. Now, it's labeled as mask 2, so it doesn't matter, it's just the only mask on there. Now, we need to start tracking it, and we need to start going frame by frame, or we need to have the starting point right here where I start to pull back. So I'm going to make a keyframe at this point, and on mask 2, let's make a keyframe, click there, and then if we zoom out a little bit, as I rear my hand back right there, frame by frame, just before I lunge forward, my mask path keyframe is still on, so now I'm going to draw go, it's rendering. Nice. So now I'm going to draw and make that keyframe adjustment. So now that it's rendered, watch. It's gonna follow me going with my hand back. But now I need to take that mask and move it forward with my hand, or else my hand disappears. So we're going, so we went, I pulled my hand back a little bit slower. So right at this point, I want it to be a little bit further, so let's make that adjustment. I want it to still be a little further from my hand, instead of, so it follows my hand. You can go frame by frame to do this. Or we can delete that keyframe and we can actually see what we did before, where we ease in and ease out. So let me go to my graph editor. So it goes from there to there. To ease in. So that's actually not too bad, right about, it's following there. We need to give it another point to adjust to, though. I want the blade to come out right about very next frame. Nope. Remember, we have to click on the mask itself. When we get these little borders and these dots around here, that's when we can change the shape of it. So the blade, the lightsaber blade, is going to start to come out right about now. I'm also going to expand this out a little bit because I noticed that the boom pole sticks quite a bit. And it's such a fast, sudden motion that kind of easing in may not be the best bet. And I want a little bit more of the lightsaber blade to come out. Well, the lightsaber blade should be on top of this mask, so we should be okay. Next frame, right about there. Yes, it's gonna take a long time, guys, I know, I'm sorry. But I promise when you get these down and when you do like the motion tracking as well, it's gonna look really, really cool. Especially since you guys have the plugin, you actually don't have to design the lightsaber blade. So it's saving you some time already. Frame by frame. It's just called Saber plugin. But don't worry, I'm literally gonna have it for you guys, so don't worry about where to find it or what to look for. Now that I have that, I think this mask is okay. Let's turn our graph off. So let's look at the keyframes that we have so far. That does a pretty good job going frame by frame of adjusting to like how what's the plugin? Darla. Tell me, what is it? Give it to me. You're fine. No, this animation's pretty solid for the mask. So now the lightsaber is going to come out when we jettison our hand forward a little bit. And now I'm going to show you guys where you will be able to download it. Okay, it's going to be in the description, so like in the project description and the instructions. It's going to be something you guys will have to basically, you'll save this, so we'll save this project first. And then from here, right at this point, that's when I'd probably say this exact frame is when we would use the saber effect. So when you guys download the saber plugin, it's gonna look like this: Saber Installer _ 2022. I might change the name, but it's a disk image. You're gonna double click on this, and hopefully if you guys don't get this error message, this is what I was getting earlier, but it turns out I found the right link for it when we do download it. But you guys will be able to go into Teams, or you'll follow the OneDrive that we have. OneDrive is where we store all of our files, pictures, videos, links, you name it, like this. But once you double click on the installer app, it'll say, welcome to the Saber plugin installer for After Effects. you want to go ahead and agree with that. 2022 is the version of After Effects that we are using, and then you click install. Once that is finished and completely finalized, then you guys are going to go back to After Effects, and then you're going to exit out, but make sure before we do that, like I said, we're going to save that first. We're going to exit out, and then when we reopen our project, let's pick back up where we were, where it was this exact frame that I left it at, and then you're going to go to Effects and Presets. Presets are basically plugins. A plugin is somebody made that they put a lot of hard work and time and effort into making an effect look a certain way, so that anybody who uses Adobe After Effects can download that plugin and just use that effect instead of having to design their own lightsaber. And a preset is something that you already have pre-saved, which technically is also a plugin. So when you go up here, if you guys did everything correctly for downloading this lightsaber plugin, you should be able to search SABER and get right here Video Copilot, which is the people who made it, the Saber plugin, which you're going to drag. You're going to bring all the way down to your wielding clip. All right, we'll bring it to our wielding clip. Okay, and check that bad boy out. That is our lightsaber now. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Let me go back here. If you have just a hilt, do you even have to mask? Well, yeah, if you have just a hilt, it's less work, but I'm trying to factor in any students in here who don't have anything like that. Maybe you guys can get like a paper towel roll, like one of those little cardboard rolls or something like that. Anything that's like easy to hold in your hand and light and very controllable. You have a gimbal piece that looks almost like a lightsaber, yeah. Broomstick as well. But yeah, a broomstick, Marcus, is very long, like our boom pole. In order to do that and to make it look good, we're gonna have to mask it. But to save you guys some time and energy, which is what we saw right there, it's easier to have something that's about, you know, maybe a foot, less than a foot long, but something that can extend, or something that doesn't extend at all. And you guys can create your lightsabers through here. So, once we reach this point, guys, we're going to basically create, oh yeah, my bad. So, wow, can't believe I forgot to do this. So basically what I did here and what I kind of goofed on is that I added this effect to a specific layer, but because I want to be able to manipulate this lightsaber around with the rest of my footage, we need to add it as an adjustment layer, okay? So real quick, everybody, to answer these questions, what an adjustment layer is that you're creating basically a fake video layer with whatever effect or lightsaber plugin or something that you want to throw on top of there. That gives you the freedom to move it around, to mask it, to do whatever you want with your other video layers, okay? So let me just undo what I did. Okay, so I took my effect, my saber effect off right here. Alright, this is masked, it looks okay. Let's go right here to the saber effect, and instead of dragging it onto anything right here, what we're going to do is right click. You're going to click new, and then you're going to go to adjustment layer, which is right here. And now we've created a brand new layer. It's kind of like an invisible layer. A mask layer is kind of similar, Marcus, because you can mask anything inside of a layer. But to make this null, basically like invisible layer right here, I'm gonna rename this to Lightsaber. And then I'm gonna go back here, search Saber again in the effects and presets, click, hold, and drag all the way down to our adjustment layer, and then boom, that our lightsaber is now on here. It's on top of everything. The wielding clip, the invisible boom pole, but it's by itself. So now once we've added that, we're going to customize and adjust it accordingly. So when you add that adjustment layer, you're going to right click and you're going to click this one. I think it was. Oh yeah, that's right. The clip that it should be apparent to, I believe. The mode it should be on though. Where are you? Arc reactor. No, I remember this. I think the parent should be the wielding clip though. So this is the point now, guys, where we're going to essentially make it super thin. So right about there. I'm zooming in and out on my pressed H for the hand tool. No, it was where the mode. I know for a fact. How did I do it again? You only have like 1 or 2 more quizzes. It's really not that many before we do the final exam. So you guys will be all right. Maybe it wasn't parented. Here we go. That's what it was. There we go. All right. So what I want to do now. If you want some, I got you. On the right-hand side. So if we go to our lightsaber clip, and where we added that as an adjustment layer, we're going to right-click this, and we're going to go to blending mode. Okay. From blending mode, we're going to go up to where it says add. All right. Once we do that, now it's basically taken all of that black out from behind in the adjustment layer, and it's just adding in what we need to see, which is the saber and the blade itself. So from here, guys, what we're actually going to do next is we're going to customize and kind of change the blade a little bit. So we're going to make it as wide as we want, as thin as we want, something that basically fits the hilt that we have right here, and you'll create like a starting point, and because we're going to keyframe this, So let me zoom back in, press H. Oh no. Press H. There we go. Now, press V again on the keyboard so that we can change things. Let's go back down here to Lightsaber. We can see core size, core start, and core end, okay? Core start is on either one of these points, so let's actually adjust that. So the core start is the bottom that we see right here. We can adjust that. See how we can shrink it, bring it down, anything like that. Core end is on the other side, which is right here. So let's actually bring the core start down here. Right about at the edge of this blade. So let's zoom in, more, H. That's where I want that core to start, right about there. Let's zoom out. Zoom back in, scrolling up on the scroll wheel, and then right about here, should be this frame where we start to see it come out. Right here. And now we're going to keyframe basically where it starts. So we'll zoom back in here a little bit. What I was trying to figure out is essentially what leads into and what activates the lightsaber. And one thing that I've been trying to do, I mean, I don't want to have to reset this entire core for the core blade itself, but I figured it out. The one switch that I have to turn on, and then I have to start the actual blade from activating at the beginning. He made a joke and he did the nasty with the cat. Yeah, that's essentially all you need to know. What I've activated is that if I go down here, if I already have my lightsaber layer right here, and if I go down to this option that says Customize Core, you click on the drop down next to Customize Core, you'll find something that says Start Offset, okay? Now, from the Start Offset, I've decided a point where I want the offset, which is basically the activation of the blade itself, to start from the very hilt right here. So I decided this frame, like, this is where I start to push with my hand, and that's when I want it to come on. And I keyframed it by clicking the stopwatch, and I said, let's start at 4% at this exact frame. And then by the time I get all the way down here, I want it at 100%, so it's completely full all the way to the end point right there. And let's see the playback to see how it looks. So right there, that's actually not too bad. The speed in which it gets there is pretty solid. I like the way that the speed looks, but let's see what it looks like a little bit faster. So let's take this keyframe, which is the end point when it's fully lit and activated, and let's move it. Oh, nope. I guess it's taking the entire keyframe with it. There we go. Let's drag this guy right about there. So I moved it one frame ahead, and let's see the speed at which it activates. It's pretty solid. We're still talking about Shane Dawson. Trying to teach y'all lightsabers. We're over here talking about a defamed YouTube star. Come on. Here we go. There we go. Oh, that's cool. Alexis giving me her undying, monotonous, half-effort support. Shane Dawson, Kardashians. Oh, lightsabers? That's cool. Ew, the cat better not be with him. That's a violation. Yeah, I know you support me. Thank you, guys. Wow, you're so cool. It's okay. It's so great. I got my nails done. Dad, what do you think? I don't really think they're... Happy B-Day. I got y'all. So, as I'm following through with this, I like the way that it activates. The thing is that I've added multiple keyframes while we were on break to each core start point, which is where the hilt is. No, it's okay, Alexis. This is all First Institute intellectual property, so it's okay. Will K is tripping. Dear God, have mercy. I could not live the rest of my life knowing that K is my last initial. Ugh. Anyway, what we got here? So, going through here, that's when I want it to be fully activated. I added these diamonds, which are the keyframes for the core start. That's where the blade begins at this hilt right here. And I was very meticulous in adding this keyframe as I follow my hand around, which is a bulk of it's basically a bulk of everything that you guys will see that follows let's see, it follows the rest of this pole here. But now here's the part that's going to be taking a lot of time for everybody, is following and tracking the blade with the pole or whatever you have attached to it for an extended period of time. So what we're gonna do now is that our mask is still there, everything looks good. I like the way that this all looks. All of a sudden the brightness kind of, because the mask disappears right here. Here's the part that's going to be a little bit tedious. Taking the beginning, this point right here, and following it everywhere throughout the frame, and then taking the ending and putting it with the other point. So the easiest way that we can do that is by doing this, guys, okay? So on the bottom left-hand side where our program window is, or our project window is, if you do all this work and it doesn't save, can you throw your laptop? That's, if you have the warranty, sure. But to save you a lot of extra time and trouble, it's okay. I know it's gonna take a lot of time, but it's all right because we're tracking this motion tracking. So, I think we should be able to pull this off. The plugin's great because it designs a lightsaber for you. Everything looks great. So let's go ahead and hide the invisible boom pole layer, and we're also gonna hide the lightsaber layer. Why? Because we need this point to reach this point and to follow it all the way through, okay? So the last time that this point was right here, it's pretty accurate, right about there. Very unhappy, but now that you've done it once, it's cool to play with it more. Yeah, I think once you guys really get introduced to what After Effects can do. Okay, now I'm going to be very tedious and I'm going to follow the endpoint just to build this immersion factor just a little bit for these couple of frames. So I'm going to follow this core end. Select V. Down here. Next frame, over there. Next frame. It's fine where it is. Next frame, right there. Next frame, right here. Yeah, this part's gonna take quite a while. That's why I want you guys to do it between 5 and 15 seconds. I did it for 40 seconds. Sure, you might want to do some really cool moves, guys, but I promise you, I'm just trying to save you a world of trouble and a world of time-consuming work. It's all blurry like this, guys, because the preview playback that I choose to play at is 1/3 of the resolution, so it's less resolution. If I went full, it looks a lot more clear, but it takes more power to do so. The project is not unlocked yet. I'm still loading all the assets that you guys are going to need in there, like the plugin for the lightsaber, certain like sound effects and stuff that you guys are going to design. This is something we're going to be doing all day tomorrow and Thursday, and I really want some, like, I made it, like I said, 5 to 15 seconds long, but we're gonna finish this here, and then I want you guys to take this into Premiere Pro and then play around with the sound design so that you're moving around, and as you hear the vroom, 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 as it moves around, that you basically get that, you match the sound with the action, frame by frame, and just understanding how much work goes into like just a very simple, well, you think it's simple, but a very short Star Wars scene. So it takes a lot of work. So After Effects and then Pro, yeah. You guys are just gonna sound design in Pro. You're gonna get the effect and the look down in After Effects, and then you're gonna export from Pro. Any type of, and if you don't wanna go by single frame by frame, you can jump ahead like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if it's in one consistent motion, and then you can move it up there. Because it's still gonna track that motion, so I just did every frame to show you guys what a lot of people in professional film studios do. Because they go frame by frame, because this stuff, I mean, matters. It matters a great deal. When you guys start working on your own like passion projects and you really get these effects down, and you understand like, okay, so this is what I need to do to make it look as realistic as possible, then I promise, like it's gonna be a little bit easier tackling, or at least shooting for editing, because that's basically what the biggest takeaway you guys are gonna have with this particular class, because it's easy to understand like how to shoot, and it's easy to understand how to edit and how to pull off these effects, but until you guys like really kind of blend the two together to where you're shooting for how easy it is to edit in the future, then that's when you become like a much better videographer. And I know you guys are literally on track to doing that. Okay, so I should have did this frame by frame. Look at all those little diamonds scrunched together just like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to see the lightsaber. Well, not locked. See it. And we're going to see our mask. And we're going to zoom out to, let's say, 50%. Let's take our hand tool. Let's actually fit it right there. And now we're gonna watch it happen. Stupidly waved around like 6 times in the footage. So if you guys want to minimize your work ethic, thank you for bringing that up, Caleb. If you want to minimize the amount of time that it's going to take, just kind of going left and right and doing like one little thing, like for a very brief amount of time. I'm talking like trying to do it in 5 to 7 seconds is going to save you guys a world of time. And because you're going to be taking a lot of time doing this. You can do it every single frame, or you can do it differently how I did it. You're going to catch it, that would be easier. Yeah. I got you. So, editing wise, there you go. Shooting wise. Well, it'll be easier editing wise, but shooting is the exact same thing that I just told you guys. Like, so good job for thinking that, Alexis. It's like, well, if the lightsaber is already turned on, then if I just catch it in the air, then I can just track the motion of the blade. So good job, good thinking. So now let's see what it actually comes out to. That was just for that like couple seconds right there, not even a second long. You have the force. I got you. So, let's see if I can actually track the motion. I'll tell you what, too. Yeah, look at all these moves I do. It's gonna be so annoying just to get right. Now, a trick that you guys need to look into doing as well is that as you're animating this, so if you guys reach a point where you find yourself moving the lightsaber going this way. So you have to remember, okay, where am I rotating this? Where is this going to? Where is this spinning? You want to animate the start and then the end point. The end point should be at the end, like the front, if you will, of the motion. Because I'm swinging this counterclockwise. So I'm going like left. So if it's spinning in this direction, then I should ideally go for, I should animate my endpoint right here instead of right here. That way it's not lagging behind, it's ahead of the motion itself. And then you can add some motion blur as well, which would be halo size, glow settings, render settings. No, I literally saw it. Flicker. I think it was flicker. Motion blur. There we go. Okay, so if you guys go down to render settings here on the bottom left, you click that, you can add motion blur as another drop down. You can turn it on. So it'll automatically have it for you as you start to move it like much quicker. So it should counter that. So, as I'm continuing to follow the tracking points that I set for my lightsaber, I am going to basically try to follow this hilt and make sure that it stays in a continuous fashion. Obviously, I did frame by frame earlier right here, and it's a much more accurate depiction. You guys see the fluidity in which it kind of stays right there, and it looks great. But, again, we don't see the lightsaber blade because I hit it with this eyeball over here, but every change that I'm making still is in play, and I can follow this target right here. I'm gonna press the H key, bring this down right here, press the V key to go back to selecting, and as we can follow this guy, we can see that it's very detailed. It's very great to go frame by frame, but if you guys have longer projects or if you're not going to put in the work, then it's not a terrible idea to follow through with taking this everywhere with you. But you want to make sure that you find the points in which it starts to get out of center and you may start to lose it. So right about, it's not exactly centered right there. You guys see that I have spacing in between my keyframes a little bit more because it's not moving as violently and it doesn't have to be that fluid. But a trick is that if I go from point A right here where it's centered to point B right there where it's centered again, it should look pretty good. But if we follow the actual timeline down here, as we click and hold and drag this to the next keyframe, we notice that in this halfway point a little bit, it's touching the side. And I kind of want to recorrect that maybe just a little bit. So, boom, right there. That's another trick that you guys will find with keyframes, is that as you're doing motion and everything, if your keyframe goes a little bit ahead of the object that you want to stay with, then it's a good way to find, like, oh, this right here, as another example, see how this target right here goes a little bit to the right instead of staying in the middle of the boom pole? Well, in order to find that, like find the point in which it's to the right it's most, it's right about maybe there. That's usually about halfway between this point and that point. So you just need to add another keyframe, and the way that you do this is just by taking that target and moving it to the left, and it should look a lot more clear now. Now it should look a lot more clear. There we go. And we don't have to do every single frame, but it's good practice. That's why I want you guys to start doing it at first and understanding, like, oh, like I see now how it's keeping track of the movement that I'm making. It's a very good it's a very good exercise and a very good thing that you guys can understand that, like, you know, basically doing frame by frame is the most accurate way to get the best looking movement. But notice how the last keyframe I have right here is here, and I want to go from that point over there to the right. So what I'm going to do is drag this over to the right, up a little bit, and we'll see how that looks. Follows it, but my hand moves a little bit fast, so that keyframe's lagging behind a little bit. So what do? We find the midpoint between these two spaces, so here and here, somewhere in the middle. That's when it hits the far left side of the boom pole. Let's just rearrange that, recenter it. Looks great right there, perfect. Now, let's watch it again. Stays in the middle, looks great. Don't have to animate every single keyframe, but again, like I said, it's good practice. So that's why I want you guys to make sure that this is a short video. So far we're 8 seconds in, but I want to see a little bit more of the lightsaber. Let's try to do 15 seconds. But what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to animate the keyframes for this start point of the lightsaber blade. I'm going to do those first, and I'm going to establish those keyframes. Then I'm going to go back and do the end point again, the core end and the core start. So I'm doing the core start now, and I'm going to do the core end next. And once I have that, I'll get back to you guys, and we'll look at the core end keyframes. And then once that's over, we've animated pretty much all of the visual elements of our project. And then after that, we're going to export this, import it into Premiere Pro, add the audio in, play around with the audio a little bit and the cues, and then we're going to export it from Premiere Pro, and that'll be our final project. Or that'll be the final product of our project. So, alright everybody, I just finished doing the core start keyframes right here, as you can see on my mouse. I finished doing the core start keyframes, which is this endpoint at the end of the hilt right here, guys. And I'm just gonna go ahead and zoom out just a little bit, and I'll click on 50% and I'll make it to fit, And then right here, you're actually gonna see this keyframe, this the core start right here, this little target, follow my hilt to the best it can throughout this entire render right here. So I still need to do the core end as well, but the core start where the hilt is a pretty good job of tracking, except for maybe right about there. We'll clean it up when we see it more. But as we go through here, you see that I did frame by frame right here where my mouse is, but then I started to split it up into different types of frames instead of doing exactly frame by frame, because that's very tedious and can consume a lot of time, but we can still get some fluid motion going with all the keyframes that we used. So right here, it's following the hilt where I place it on my hand, and then I bring my second hand in, it's still there, and it's still there at the end. I shortened the composition to like 17 seconds because doing like a full 40 seconds, which is what it was originally, is going to take a lot of time as well. But I want to make sure that you guys understand these principles so that we can get a pretty similar end result, okay? So like, so yeah, if we play it through, it's gonna look pretty solid and pretty fluid. Now, a shortcut that we can do as well, since the end blade is right about here, the core end, we need to follow this for the rest of the frame. But the great thing about that is that to sync it up with different keyframes, no, we might as well just try to, we need to create its own keyframes. That'll probably be better. Yeah. It's gonna look good afterwards. But now I'm gonna start working on the core end keyframes right here on the lower left-hand side. Remember, it's our lightsaber layer, effects drop down, saber drop down, and then core end, okay? So we're gonna get back to the last keyframe that we were on for the core end, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply those same types of keyframes at the end, very tip of my lightsaber, and follow it around until the end of my composition, which is about 17 seconds, okay? So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Press H, the hand key, and let's go ahead and get started, guys. Might do this frame by frame. A little bit more detailed, it just depends. Now that it looks great, guys, it looks awesome. Before I do that, you know what? I want to change and see what we can change the color of this lightsaber to, because right now it's blue. So in order to do that, we'll go to our lightsaber layer, effects drop down, saber drop down, and then down to glow color. From there, we can click on different looks. Maybe I wanted to do red. Maybe I wanted to do like a really beautiful green, or maybe I wanted to do like an orange or a yellow. Me, I personally like purple lightsabers, so I'm gonna go with purple. When we get here, guys, I'm gonna make it purple like this. You can determine the type of purple color you want. You can go from white down to like a different hue right here. But I'm gonna drag this all the way up to the top right so it gets the most purple out of it. And that right there is basically my purple lightsaber that I love to use. From here, if we want to render and export it, we're gonna go to the top left where it says File, and now we're gonna go down to Export, and then we're gonna go to Add to Render Queue, okay? When we add to our render queue, we'll see that we have two different compositions. I tried this earlier before, but let's not worry about that. Let's take that one's not important. Actually, we might do we might do the second one instead of the first one, because we can do multiple different compositions, guys, but we'll focus on the lightsaber composition right here. Number 2 seems to be the most recent one, and from here we need to go down to output 2, because what output 2 means is that you're not going to have these buttons available on the right hand side, which will start the rendering. You need to determine where it's going to go first before you send it there. But render is best settings, current settings, anything like that, leave it at best settings, and output module, leave it at high quality. So high quality is great, best settings great as well. Output 2, if we click on the blue lettering that we see here, we can change the name of our project to, Lightsaber instead of Lightsaber_1, and then I can determine where I want to save it and where it's going to output to. So I'm going to make it on my drive, class tutorials. I'm just going to save it in this folder right here. And you guys can choose desktop, but it says is used by another output module. Please choose another name. So it could be that one. Let me cancel that real quick. And let's uncheck this one, and let's check this one. This one's the top. And then from here, guys, lightsaber, yep, all looks good. I'll double check this. This is the one that I was talking about. It's in the same folder in the same location with my drive, class tutorials. It's gonna be a QuickTime movie, so let's save that. And now that's where we give it its output to, its destination. It's still best settings, high quality, it's queued up, and then we want to go ahead and render it. And then this guy is going to render every single frame of the effect to everything that we see here. And we get the little beep, it means it's done. And when it's done and completed, everybody, we can go check our Finder for that. We bring up Finder. You might see documents or something else, everybody. But if we go down to our drive right here, if I remember it's in class tutorials, I should see my lightsaber.mov right here. I turned all the audio down in After Effects, so it should just be visual. Even got the glow and everything. It looks great, guys. Looks awesome. Alright, now we need to import this MOV onto Premiere Pro, which is what we're going to open up next. Good job, After Effects. File, save in After Effects so that we keep track of everything. Then we can close it. Then we can open up Premiere Pro. And we'll open up a new project here. Let's call this one Lightsaber Final. And then location here. I'm going to save it in the same place. So on my drive, class tutorials. Yeah, choose here. Go. Click OK. So now we know where it's going to save our Premiere Pro project. And then through here, guys, we're going to go ahead and open up, well, not open up, but we're going to import our footage on here. Whenever we start a big project, guys, where we have like a lot of different video and audio sources, we want to first make the bins. So in order to do that, guys, we can go down here to our project folder or our project window. before we do all of that, I want to make sure that we're in the all workspaces place. Okay, all panels, we're doing good. I'm going to customize this a little bit, everybody. Right. Move you right here. Move you right here. Okay, I'm dragging all this. I'm not giving a lot of space for my program and my timeline. That's just how I like things laid out personally. Through here, where our media bins would be, we're gonna right click in this empty area and click a new bin. And then for the new bin, we'll put video. And then we'll make another new bin. We'll put audio. I want you guys to get in the hang of this. And in our video folder, or our video bin, let's double click on that, and then it's already in our bin right there. So we went from project to the bin that we double clicked on. Now, whatever we import is gonna go into this bin whenever we double click on it. But if we import it here, it's gonna be outside of these bins. We want it to be nice and neat, so let's go back to our bin and let's press Command I on our keyboard, or File, and then Import, which would be this option right here. And then we're gonna look at where our MOV was, which was from After Effects. It'll be in Class Tutorials, and then lightsaber.mov right here. We're gonna import that guy, and that's gonna be in our video bin right here in our project. Double click, there it is. Now we're gonna take this guy, drag him onto our timeline, and this is our After Effects project. I'll press the squiggly key up here. Everything exported looks nice. Yeah, looks great. Nice, love to see that. All right, there's no audio with it because I turned it all down in After Effects. You guys can turn your audio down in Premiere Pro if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and right click this and unlink these two. I'm also gonna stretch them out a little bit so that we can clearly see where everything is. And I'm gonna go ahead and just delete this audio. And speaking of audio, I'm gonna go back to our project folder on the bottom left-hand side here. And then I'm gonna go to my audio bin, okay? Now, what we have with our video, in this video bin, whenever we drag video source, which is the lightsaber.mov down here to the timeline, it creates a sequence. Whenever you guys drag something from our project window or our project panel here to our timeline, it says, hey, do you want to start editing this? So this is a combination of video and audio and effects that you're going to try to use on Premiere Pro. So now this is a sequence, okay? That sequence is now automatically added into our video bin, all right? Let's go to our project folder again, and then we're gonna go to our audio bin, double click on that, and then through here, we're gonna press Command I on our keyboard. And I know that in my class tutorials, I should have the lightsaber rare sound effects. This is the MP3 file I'll have for you guys that you will use, that you should have already downloaded. And that's what we're gonna import and use for our sound effects for our lightsaber, okay? So through here, we can double click on this and just listen to the sound that we have. That's going to give us the best like sound for there we go. Not capturing any desktop audio, so I apologize on that one, guys, but just to kind of give you at least an accurate representation of it, we'll go ahead and play it through these headsets here. Those are all the different lightsaber sound effects that we have, guys, for activation And if we scroll through a little bit here, we can get the hum. You get that low hum, it sounds really good. And so I'm gonna listen out. I want that low hum as like my first video layer. And then after my first video layer, then we're just gonna start going into like vroom, vroom, and we'll get those little like waving, moving sound effects, okay? So I'm gonna listen in for this. I'm gonna piece together what I have for what I got here. I'm gonna piece together what I have and see like, okay, I want this snippet, I want this snippet. And then you guys can loop it and duplicate that sound. Like for example, if I like the way that this hum sounds right here, if I like the way that this hum sounds right here, that's a pretty good, awesome, like cool sounding hum. I'm gonna go ahead and click my in point. I'm gonna actually drag it back a little bit. I'm gonna go back a little bit more. This is the part that I want. I'm gonna press I on my keyboard, and then I'm gonna let this sound play out, because I'm marking in like, okay, I want the starting point of this sound. Then it ended right there. You can zoom in with using plus on the keyboard to see where that sound ends. It's playing right now. And then I like the hum right there. So I just want this continuous hum. So now I'm gonna press O on my keyboard. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm going to apply it to basically a good chunk of the video now. So I'm gonna take this, and now that I've put an in and an out point, this is the little sub clip or the snippet that I want to add onto my timeline. So I can take this and click drag audio only, and it's only gonna take that snippet that I like. So this snippet is only that certain amount of length, but if I want to, I can Command D, or I can Command, sorry. If I want to copy and paste this, guys, if I want to duplicate this sound, you guys can do, so if I want to duplicate this sound, guys, I can take this little bite that I just made from my subclip of the audio, the lightsaber audio that I like the sound of this so far, and I can highlight it, click and highlight it, and then press Command C to copy it, and then to paste it, it's going to paste it on audio 1 again, but I should move my timeline a little bit forward, and then press Command V on the keyboard. Now I have that exact copy right there. So now I can do the same thing over and over again back here to when I activate the lightsaber. But I only want it humming like that when the lightsaber is fully activated. So right about there. And so we have a pretty good, like, nice, like regular monotone, like level of the hum right here. But if I wanted to make it a little bit seamless in between these, I'm gonna add a little crossfade with my audio transitions. In order to find that, I'm gonna go up to the top right over here where I'll see audio transitions in my effects panel. Make sure you click on the effects panel and then click on the folder, the drop down audio transitions, and then crossfade. And then we wanna do exponential fade. So click and drag and hold that and bring it down to your audio right here. Now it kind of fades in and fades out. And I want to bring that into the other one as well right here. And then let me actually click on this transition specifically, zoom all the way in with the plus button on my keyboard, and let's minimize how fast or how slow this fade is. Kind of fades in, fades out there. Let's delete that. Let's see what it sounds like. It might actually just sound normal. Yeah, we don't really need that transition. You guys can add that if you wanted to, but I found a good, like, nice hum that doesn't really sound like that different whenever it transitions. But now I want to do the activation sound, so the so now we're going to find that in our so that doesn't sound like that. I think the activation sounds from the beginning. Yeah, let's try the first one. I'm going to go down to the exact frame. Press I on the keyboard. Press O when we reach that end. There we go. Click and drag this down here, and then we want to do the activation. So that sounds not just right. I need to time it up for when we first see this, the lightsaber come into play. So this frame right here. So if it can't go onto A1 because it's going to overlap for the hum that I want to include, let's just bring it down into A2. That looks pretty solid right now. All right, I want that activation sounds sounds pretty cool. It's on sync right there. So now we have that hum. That hum's gonna stay there the whole time, but I want to include the as I'm waving and moving it around. Okay? So as I lift it up right here, we need something that sounds like So we're gonna go back into our audio samples here, zoom all the way out. gonna listen out for that. I like the way that one sounds. I like the way that one sounds. Press I. I'm going to right click this cell. A lot of different audio sources going on here. Looks pretty good right there. There might be some different, I can actually take this and slow it down if I wanted to, or I can make a different sound that sounds a little bit like lower, if you will, as I'm moving it around. So I'm gonna take this audio clip that I just got for when I'm raising the blade. It sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna right click it, and then I'm gonna go to speed and duration. To there, I'm gonna make it a little bit slower, so let's bring it down to 75%. From there, we make it a little bit longer, so it's a little bit lower. Sounds pretty cool, and then I can find different sounds in here, which is entirely up to you guys. This sounds pretty cool. I want this one. I'm gonna change the duration on this to as it kind of sweeps across there, I'll get it through there. And then I can copy this one right here. Oh. Make sure that we do A2 instead of A1. There we go. You click on A2. If A1 is highlighted and you paste something on a layer there, it's going to put it on A1 instead of A2. Unless we have A2 highlighted and A1 off. Or not highlighted. Find a different noise here. See how this happens a little bit quicker? I think I want to make this a little bit longer, so I'm going to change the speed and the duration on it with right clicking speed and duration. Let's bring it down to 65%. But it brings it to a much lower pitch too. But if we maintain the audio pitch, let's see what happens when we do that. Bring this back a little bit. I don't like the way that sounds. Let's make it that one. This goes along with the low hum a little bit more. All right, let's go back here. Let me find another noise. This one sounds pretty good right here. And then that's the guy that I want to end on. change the duration on this guy. Let's make it 60%. Alright, so I think this looks pretty decent. Let's change this one up a little bit. As it kind of waves right there, that's when you guys want to include your sound. That looks pretty good. Yep, that looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna add some music as well. So, just because I like some music. So I like this song right here. I'm gonna download it and import it. So once I have this finally downloaded for you guys, then I'm going to export it, and we'll see the final product, and it'll look pretty good. So now that I've downloaded it, I'm going to go back into my project panel here, and we're going to our audio bin, and let's import through here. And then we're going to go down into downloads, which is what I had recently. This was it right here. I want to rename this so it's a little bit better. It's not going to let me do it because because I downloaded it. It's a John Williams song, so. That's good right there. John Williams, Battle of the Heroes. It's just a really good soundtrack from one of the Star Wars movies. Make sure we go to downloads. It should be this one right here. Import it. And let's bring it on to audio layer 3 right here. Shorten it to where the song actually starts. Bring the gain up a little bit by probably 5. Let's shorten this song down, and let's give it a little fade, exponential fade at the end here. And then shoot, let's go ahead and put a video transition. Dip to black. Let's clean this up a little bit. Alright, so this should be our final product. Looks pretty solid. Awesome. Now I just gotta export and then post it on streams. So that concludes the tutorial, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions. Message me, reach out to me if you need some additional help, and I will be there for you. But yeah, that concludes everything that I did to basically do this lightsaber project along with you guys. Feel free to move the lightsaber around a little bit more if you guys want, or shorten it compared to what I did because it was a little bit over. But you know, add some different music in there, anything that you guys think is cool. Have fun with this project, okay guys? But I will see you in the future, and reach out to me if you need any additional assistance, okay? All right, take care everybody.